Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Of Mice and
Wolves. Ow! This is the comic book workshop show where we help other creative indie creators come on and we talk about their issues and help kind of workshop solve them. Basically, we try and give our opinions. Basically, do a Q&A session. And the way this works is we're going to give our guests, they're going to present us with the issue. We're going to ask questions. Once the questions are done, we're going to go into what we think are our answers or kind of our opinions of what we think could help. And without further ado, let's bring them on.
Hey, what's up, James?
Greetings, my friends.
Introduce yourself, my good friend.
Yes.
I am James Burton. I am one of the Scattered Comics creators. I am currently behind the story called The Ballad of Nod.
All right, very nice.
Very nice.
What's up, Sam?
Hi, I'm Sam Johnson. I'm the writer of Geek Girl and Carbuccini Voodoo Junkie Hit One.
Very nice.
Say that 5 times fast.
Bit of a mouthful.
Sam, just out of curiosity, what time is it over there?
It is just gone 1 a.m.
Oh wow. Whew.
Yeah,
It could be worse because the clock changes for us this weekend. So if we were doing this next week, it would be 2 a.m. Have I got that? My brain's not even functioning at this point anymore. I'm not going to swear to.
Look at it this way: it's like you haven't left the pub yet, right?
That's it. Yeah.
There you go.
And most comic creators, 1 a.m. is when we're the busiest anyway.
True. What's up, Aaron? Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I'm Aaron Wroblewski. I'm the writer, creator of Enenra, Blood and Fire, Ice and Bone, and the current kickstarting Amor Patrice.
Very nice. Very nice. Rob, please begin the festivities.
All right. So the way we do this is we usually run counter or clockwise. So I guess that would be this way since I'm reversed. So I guess, James, you are first, sir. What is your comic book industry issue that you would like us to help workshop with you, sir?
I think the comic book industry issue that I am facing problems with is growing my network without going to cons like constantly. It used to be that I would go to conventions and be able to add to my email list and things like that by just being there, talking to new people and working on it. Every con I went to, I'd get like 20 people, and I was going to like 7 or 8 cons a year. But I don't go to 7 or 8 cons anymore. As a matter of fact, most of the cons, their foot traffic have kind of changed, or they've all decided that they want a rather cost I'm not willing to pay for their tables. Artist Alley is not worth $300 a table for a one-day event, and it just doesn't work that way. So I'm trying to figure out and understand other alternatives where it's something feasible without having to attend all those conventions.
Okay. So does anyone have any kind of clarification questions for Sir James before we get into our thoughts?
What have you done up to now? Like
besides the conventions,
excluding cons, yeah.
Okay. Besides the conventions, I of course have Substack, and I also collect emails through my website. It's a small amount; it doesn't go up very much. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even keep pace with email blockages and loss. The other things that I do is I used to work in a group where we did King Sumo giveaways, and but the person that was running those groups, he did a lot of the work himself, and he wasn't getting reciprocation consistently from the other members, so he didn't want to continue doing the group. And I'm not 100% sure I'm the right person to run that kind of an event. But that is the other thing that I have a small amount of experience with.
So by running it as a group, so you mean like a bunch of creators getting together, or your comic book?
It it was basically like 5 or 6 creators all getting together, pitching in a certain amount, and giving away a very large mainstream style prize. It generated like 7,000 emails. It was fantastic. Actually, 15,000, but it dropped very quickly because it was a mainstream prize. I don't do mainstream style stuff, and it didn't really. I don't know. Basically, I'm down to. Goodness, I think I'm around 2,000 or something on my list now. So I've kept and retained some of those people, but it wasn't exactly the best retention, I could say.
Yeah, those giveaways tend to kind of generate just people who want the prize, not so much what you're offering, especially the group ones. I'll get a little bit into that later, but anybody else have any more clarifying questions for James?
Now, as far as the cons, one, when was the last time you went to a show? Right.
I was at SilverCon last year. After the pandemic, I don't do a lot of cons as much as I used to. Part of it's I have a compromised immune system. So me going to a con has a couple of challenges to it. Nobody wants to come up to the table where the guy's got a mask on, item one. And nobody wants to come up to the table when every time they walk away, the person is doing this with hand sanitizer. And, you know, there's a couple of reasons why the cons have a different level of challenge. I am planning on trying to return to SilverCon because I had a good time and the people who run it are really nice. A lot of the cons that I was a usual at, a bunch of them have closed and did not return, unfortunately. There are a couple of new cons where I have been to. It's just that like I said, the foot traffic didn't really equal the effort. I think when I go to conventions, I know it's an investment in myself, but I like to be able to balance it. So I'm not really big on traveling and getting a hotel room and the rest of that. I usually try to make sure that I'm breaking even. I sell between, I don't know, I usually sell between 50 to 100 books when I'm at the one with high traffic, and in the low traffic, that varies like greatly depending on a lot of different factors. There was one con I went to last year. I really enjoyed it, but I was unfortunately set 20 feet away from a music venue where no one could hear me talk. Right. So at a certain point, I just said, okay, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the rest of this. Yeah. Okay. So I'm really trying to grow my list. My list conversion is great. When I run Kickstarters, I am getting a significant amount of the conversions from the people coming over to it. Usually the people that do go and check out the Kickstarter, I think I have like a 30 or 40% chance of converting. So those things are going well. I just really want to look for more people, more tribe members, to be included in that. And like I said, I tried the big group giveaway and it was a lot of effort and the retention was challenging. And I'm looking for thoughts on what are some other avenues to shoot for.
Have you done do you have like a landing page where they can sign up for an email list for like a free edition or free digital copy of something?
Yes. It usually sends them to, it's set up to give them access to the Damage Inc. books. Now that I'm doing the Battle of Nod, I haven't switched over to the new book yet because I wanted to get the Kickstarter done first and go through it in that way. I'll be updating it next week if everything goes well by Friday.
Okay. Another way you could play off of what you're already doing is do like a we're not in that yet. Sorry. Another question. Sorry. See, now JD, now you got me doing it.
I was gonna let you go too.
Yeah, I know you were. Yeah, you were just gloating in your head. I could see it. So another question that I have, besides doing the email list, is how are you promoting that email list? And have you thought of, do you do more shows like this outside of Kickstarter or only when you're doing a Kickstarter?
But this time around in doing the Battle of Nod, I got a lot more positive both podcast participation. I got a couple of different websites to take a look at it, review the book. I got a lot more than when I was doing Damage. In Damage Inc. it's really sarcastic. And there are, there's a lot of smack talking, there's mom jokes, there's all kinds of stuff like that. So it was kind of difficult to find people who wanted to be a part of that weren't like, I don't know, in the wrong character. But for Battle of Nod, it seems to be working better. So trying to involve myself in more podcasts and then doing either more interviews or even participating on my own, that's a great idea as well. That's something I've realized now that I've done the Battle of Nod and seen that I'm getting a lot more, just a little bit more friendly back and forth than I was with the other book.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything before we jump into it?
Just real quick, because I had a second question. The convention thing. So obviously you're doing that other show. You said Silver or something. What was it called?
SilverCon.
So I don't know. Is that a medium-sized show?
I'd say medium. It has the potential to get much, much larger. It's really one of only 2 shows that go through Reno. So it's still kind of growing. It's grown for the last couple of years. And I have like I said, I have friends up there that go to it and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more helpful. But I wouldn't consider it a giant con. I'd consider it like a lower medium at the moment.
Okay. So, I mean, have you considered, I don't know what your area is like. Do you have smaller shows in the area that you could go to instead of like,
We used to have a lot. Sacramento used to have a really good comic book scene. It really did. But a lot of it has changed slightly during the pandemic. There were a lot of outlying cons that Scattered Comics was either a part of or a guest for, invited to, and we went to all of them. But like it was about 6 different ones. However, most of them have closed. Now there are other ones that are a little bit farther out there that could be branched out to. Like I know Stockton Con. I went to that one once, but that one has a lot of traffic for it. But I'm looking for something, like I said, where I want to rely more on things that I can direct on my own instead of on if the cons are going well or not, for a couple of different reasons. One, you never know when you're going to get into a con where the placement like works, because not all of them are really cognizant of Artist Alley. That's one part. 2, the other part is I can't go to a con without getting ravenously sick, like the kind of sick where I have to take 2 weeks off right afterwards. It used to be a little bit easier, but with my immune system the way that it is, it's getting more and more challenging. The last time when I went to SilverCon, I ended up calling in for 3 days right after. At another one of the cons that I would go to routinely, like I said, I would go ahead and make sure I had all kinds of antiseptic and a mask and whatever. And if you do that at a table, people assume you're sick and go around it. I mean, I could put up a sign saying I'm not sick, I'm immune compromised, but I'm not sure that's the right way to go.
Like, listen, I'm not sick. You will make me sick, but buy my stuff anyway.
You will make me sick. Don't come over here. That doesn't.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't bode well either. I want to still do cons. I'm not saying I'm not going to. It's just that I don't think I'm going to go back to the years that I was doing 10 or 11. Right. I might do 3 or 4 and have them, spaced out and make sure they're ones with a decent foot traffic and ones that are going to be worth the effort. I'm just a little bit more choosy about where I go after everybody's been through that. And that the other thing is, like, you guys I sound fine right now. I do. But if I get the slightest little bug, or not even a bug, just sometimes I sound like I'm not breathing right, and I sound like I'm sick as hell. I'm not, but that's what I sound like. It's part of it. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor, and one of the weird things I got is that my nasal pharynx is weird. I am actually seeing a surgeon in a couple of months. It's making it so I can't breathe at night and things like that, and I will sound sick as hell and going and really look like I'm sitting at the table and looking like I'm an infected walking zombie. So I'm looking for ways that are outside of that, so that I can focus on, something that works a little bit better.
So, One more question I have, because so you're a part of a comics group, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So do they travel to cons still, and that you kind of like backed out?
No, before the pandemic, we all traveled as a group. There'd be like 10 or 12 of us would go to each one of these cons. We'd have entire like aisles in Artist Alley, would be one scattered comic creator after the other, or we'd have one gigantic, massive booth in the vendor area. We don't do that anymore. That's the other thing, is the group would travel as a group like that, but we don't really do it that way anymore.
So
thank you, Sarah.
All right, so you don't do it together. Okay. Are you guys willing to sell each other's books, or do you have to be like separately selling your own stuff? Like if you were,
that's a good idea too. We've some of us are a little bit more willing than it's a loose group. Like Scatter Comics, we work together to help each other. We help each other with art. We help each other with promoting each other. We used to, anytime one of us got into a con, we bring the rest of us like a biker gang. But it's loose. It's more of a co-op than a publisher.
Okay.
Where we're all under that banner, but we all do our own thing. So it's a lot more loosely fitting than you'd think.
Okay. Anyone else? Any last questions before we jump in?
Well, along the lines of what you're saying, Rob, I mean, my thoughts are, if you could have, basically, if there's a con that you can't attend, to have someone else from the book there in your place. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've got, with this cooperative, that you've got things along those lines. So that seems to be an alternative. If it's a con you can't do it, perhaps someone else from the book does it instead.
Well, that's not a bad idea. We haven't discussed that as a group.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like my thoughts on the matter. If you guys have this co-op and you're used to going to with each other, but now, like, let's say half of you can't go, the other half can focus on selling all of the books within the co-op, while online the others could be focusing on. So like you could have you and whoever focusing on the online stuff and promoting each other's books. I mean, you could even since you are technically a co-op of the same publishing title, you could even be offering as catch-up tiers or publisher tiers to grab everybody's books and then kind of give them a chunk, and then you can, that way you're also spreading each other's books out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good way, as a publisher, like if I was, with a bunch of, let's say like, there's 3 of us and we're using the same name. Like, there's no reason why we can't be pushing all those books with the same title or your same, imprint, if you will.
No, that's a good idea, at least to help with those performances there at the cons. Yeah.
Plus, that also could help get you in the door with other people. Like, because if you put on your book like a QR code or your website to sign up for the email list, or slip in like a card that goes in with the book. So like you have it, like, let's say you give them a bunch of books that are like bag and board. You have your card in that bag and board. So when they buy your book off of them, they can if they like it, they're going to go to your site and sign up.
I did put a QR code on the back of Nod that goes to the website, goes to my website. So, but that could be branched out, like you said, where it does some kind of collection or goes to the group collective.
Yeah. Have you sent them to other creators for like freebie PDFs? I've done that a few times. I've actually got quite a lot of traffic coming back that way. So that's another way of branching out. Not
with this new book, not yet, because like I said, I don't want to do that.
With I mean, once the Kickstarter's done, you should be able to kind of even send like a preview, like a 10 to 12 page preview of the new book. Send that out to people. I do PDF, indie creator PDFs as like milestones. Yeah. I take previews as well. I'm not stingy. Some people don't. Some people prefer the full issue. I get whatever's given.
I mean, if you make it into like a digital ashcan with like the preview, character designs, back matter, like your story about how the book is about, kind of roughly about your daughter and her teddy bear and kind of like your experiences with your life and stuff like that. That's all great stuff that people would dig into. Like they love the process stuff, right?
Yeah, that's why at the con when they hear that story, it goes really well.
Right, exactly. But when you're at a con, so you have to. This is figuring out now how to do this online. So aside from going on these things and telling it, doing the digital ash can, giving it to other creators to share out, putting it that could be even right now. Before the campaign ends, you could have that as part of your sign up to go with, your other book as the digital ash can to kind of say, oh, you're also going to get this bonus thing in here. Let me tell you about it in the email that they receive.
Gotcha. Now, I was planning on redesigning a landing page to do that, but I wasn't exactly sure how far to take it.
I do have an idea for your cons. They say you've your mask up and do all that stuff. Because you're an artist, write and draw a short story, 4-page of someone sick, and say you dressed up as a character. This is my little book, and and then talk about it, and then kind of lead it into your other books.
Aaron, that's a great idea. Unfortunately, the character I did that with is in Nod and he dies.
Just do it a prequel.
Still alive, yeah.
No, that's a good idea too.
So I think we've moved into the answer stage.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
There was all questions.
Yeah.
Rhetorical questions.
But one of the things I think you could do, James, if you decide to do more shows and you are wearing a mask, I don't know if you can still find them. Back when COVID was going on, you could find vendors who were screen printing on those. Well, they were printing on those masks.
I can make it myself.
Or right, there you go.
Yeah,
exactly. So if you got something like that going on for yourself, you know what I mean? It's at least a little bit more friendly.
It doesn't look like you just escaped from a hospital.
Yeah, I can design it to look like the teddy bear.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Like do it like I have the Nightwolf's mouth. Right. Just do the teddy bear mouth.
Hell,
put your logos on it. Right. So put your logos on there.
Yeah. Right.
You can put. I have the Nightwolf logo. I have my. So that you have brand recognition.
Right.
Yeah. Then it would look like I was doing that, not quite as sick.
And if you do that, you could also, if you get a couple extra made, you can sell them at your table.
That's not a bad idea.
You're advertising. It's merchandising.
No, I like that part too. I mean, I like that part as well.
Do you take anyone with you?
I usually take my Emil, my daughter. She loves going to the cons. My son doesn't like going unless he's saved up a bunch of money because he's going to blow it on whatever
that sounds about right.
The stuff he can find, it's gone.
Yeah.
But Camille, she likes going to the con. She has this thing where, like, if I have to get up from the table and go to the restroom or whatever, she makes it her mission to, if I'm gone for 15 minutes, she's going to outsell my record for 15 minutes. She always wants to do something like that.
Nice.
And
see, there you go. You got a sales girl right there for you.
Yeah.
I mean, let her take over.
No, I feel guilty, dude. If I leave the table for like 30 seconds, I feel crap.
But you don't even have to leave the table. You can be the artist that, who just kind of leans over and he's drawing. Right. And you just let her do all the selling. People love to watch the artists.
Exactly.
While you have like the salesperson talking.
I used to actually have a 40-inch monitor that was connected to this little machine to convert it over from DC to AC, so I could run my tablet and let people watch me make pages as they're like walking by and stuff like that.
That would be
that
cool.
Thing weighed like over 100 pounds.
And then you also have to pay for the electric, which adds to the
no.
bill.
It was on. I was running it off of a marine battery.
Oh.
It lasted most of the day.
And I didn't make it any lighter.
It did not make it any lighter. That thing weighed so much. I stopped carrying it because I just got so tired. Like it fell over on Camille once. And we had to like pick it up in the middle of the street. And it was after that, I was like, this thing is too heavy. But I may put that back together again and just try to see if there's better technology. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm sure now they probably have something a little more miniaturized. It's crazy how technology gets smaller and more affordable.
Lighter.
Yeah.
That was like 6 years ago.
Gosh. I mean, but as far as like reaching other communities and other like things, I mean, look, I say it all the time. Like, I'm stuck on Facebook, sometime once in a blue moon on Twitter. But that's about it, right? Like, I've poked at Reddit. But that's the thing is like, how many of us are poking at Blue Sky and these other things? And are there viable communities in those places that are willing to pick up books? Right?
Well, there are. You always have to find them. I'm going to be working on the Ballad of Nod through the 6 issues, so it's probably going to take the rest of the year. I do have other Damage books and stories to go back to, and I'm going to try to do them in the middle of some of the others, but the crowds are different between the two of them. Right. Damage Inc. is a comedy, supernatural, slobber knocker kind of thing. And there's gunfights and whatever. The other book is an emotional, tear-tugging teddy bear romp through the dream world. It's a different market, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of starting over trying to find that tribe of people. And I'm not complaining about it at all because so far it's gone well. The Kickstarter's gotten almost as many people as Damage Inc. It's gone, and there was 6 years into Damage, so averaging 69 backers or so, and I'm already up there at the same point with the Ballad of Nod. So I'm really happy with the first go around, and I want to keep extending it. And part of it's going to be about finding those. That's why I've reached out to like other authors and other web pages and things that aren't about just 90s style comics, but other things that are about like writing in general, or people doing reviews of family style stuff. And I'm trying to do things like that. So I'm hoping that both of them can help increase some of the readers.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way to do it. I mean, you're going to keep building with each issue no matter what. And once you have issue 1, that's definitely going to, help you in the long run. Your audiences don't cross over all the time. But that it comes down to that whole building thing. But like, as long as you're, if Facebook is your main platform, then I would definitely throw a lot into that, and then kind of like just do some reposting if you have like a Twitter, Instagram, or one of the other ones like Blue Sky or Hive or whatever. I think now when it comes like our generation is on Facebook. When you get like our kids, they're on like the other platforms like Snapchat and like TikTok and stuff like that. So like that's all video formatting for the most part, and we're not, our stuff is flat, right? So it's harder, there's ways to do it and do it well, but time and is another thing. So it's like, right now I'm focusing on, the building your email list, promoting it here, going on these, and then talking to your team about, spreading each other's books like an actual publisher, working together to build each other up.
Yeah. And also, are you doing update swaps? I know that was a thing for a while, and like some people still do them.
I did do a few. Like I did not do it as heavily this time for a particular reason. It was weird when I did Damage the last time. I couldn't get away from the YA books. I couldn't. They were everywhere. And now I'm doing a YA comic, and what do I find? Everybody's doing Not Safe for Work supernatural ass kickers. It's like, that was exactly what I needed for Damage, and like the cross promote's completely different now. It really depends on when you hit and who's going in with you, and it changes. Like the cycle of creativity, right? Some days you'll go on there. There's like 4 or 5 guys that do stories about toys coming alive or whatever. And then sometimes the Kickstarter books will get heavy on stuff like that, heavy on YA. And then in other times it just isn't. And it sure as heck right now is not it. There's a ton of
it is hard to do the younger books.
Oh yeah.
I
knew that going in. And I understood that part. But and I actually stole this from Sam actually. One time I reached out to him and I said, "Hey dude, do you want to do a crossover with Damage?" And he looked at it, he's like, "James, your book's good. It doesn't really cross over with my audience. I don't think it's a good idea." And I was like, you know what? I guess that is kind of smart not to try to promote something that doesn't belong with the audience you're trying to do. And so this time around, I was trying to be selective of like who I did the crossovers with. So that excuse me, so that some mom who's getting the books because their own kid died or whatever their story is didn't also go and get an ad for like some crazy not for safe demon worshipping book.
I think another at least if you haven't done it yet, Symmetry Inc. Matt Knowles and Steph, they have their kids book that they got back from a bad deal. I'm not going to go into who that is or what that was about, but they're putting that out again and they're live. So if you haven't crossed with them, that's a good one for you to do.
Rob,
I was on a podcast with Matt the other day. I was going to send him a message after this saying because I was going to do one more update and try to help him out. I was going to see if he wanted to cross over because I was on a podcast with him just a bit ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk after the show. If you want to, I'm running an Oswald campaign, so if you want to cross over.
Heck yeah, JD. We'll talk about that later.
All right.
One of his 2 campaigns that are live right now.
Yeah.
I'd offer to do one for mine, but I don't think supernatural horror is kid friendly.
It would have been fine with Damage, but it just doesn't work with this one. That's just timing. But those are all some really great suggestions. I got some good things out of it. A reminder to work with the Scattered as a group is fantastic. Looking at some of the other ways to turn that minus into a monetization at the cons, that's a great suggestion right there. And you guys gave me plenty to think about. I appreciate it.
Yeah, child labor.
Child labor.
Always.
All right. So, yep. Well, we're happy. We helped you out, James. Now, Sam, what's your question?
Okay, so Instagram, how to get people following you on Instagram to back your Kickstarter, because I find like it's really, really easy to I'll follow someone on Instagram, they'll follow me back, they'll check out my pictures, but I think the sort of default position, excuse me, for people on Instagram is just checking out the pictures. And like I'm saying, it's quite easy to build up my following on Instagram, easier than it is on excuse me, Twitter, where before Musk got hold of it, you could I don't know, it was much easier to add people, find people that were liked. I think you could see who liked something, and now you can't, or something like that. It's not I can go on Instagram, and as long as you don't do it too rapidly, you pause between sending a load of ads, I can add a lot of people in a short space of time. But turning that into anything beyond them looking at the pictures I post, I've not seen that happening, and there's got to be a way.
Okay.
So I have a question for you.
Yep.
If that's okay.
Yep,
so one of the mistakes I made early on is I would never really make call to actions for my email group for the longest time. And they get used to, you're just going to send out stuff for them to look at. How often are you putting things out there that have calls to actions, whether they're go to my website, go to Kickstarter, go to this, go to that?
Well, currently with the Geek Girl Kickstarter running, geekgirlcomics.com is reroutes to it. So if I'm posting something Geek Girl related, it's in the text it's saying, you know, at geekgirlcomics.com for the Kickstarter. So that's happening regularly. Yeah, I mean, obviously it would be better if you could have clickable links, but that's Instagram, you can't. So
you can.
In a post.
Oh, not in the post. In a is it a reel or story? You can.
Yeah, in a real story.
Yeah.
You could also there's a area like in your profile at the top. You can put a link or whatever.
Yeah.
Link in bio.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, one way or another, I can get the links in, but I don't think. I think, as I say, that people just, I like that picture, move on.
So on your images, like, do you put like a URL or like anything like that they can see it visually, then they can just type it out?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, if it's a post, I'll put Kickstarter at and then www.geekgirlcomics.com. So that's easy.
But you're putting it on the image, not just in the post?
Not on the image.
Okay. That I'll get to that later.
Okay.
Any more clarification questions, or do we think this one's pretty straightforward?
I think this was pretty straightforward. Instagram sucks.
Well, thanks for got that cleared up.
Yeah, welcome. I bet you're glad you stayed up until 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah. It's often worth it.
Sam, sometimes when the call to action, just one of the other ways to make a call to action work a little bit better is to also tie some kind of a event or moment or like a discount to it. Whenever you do those, do you ever end whatever the piece is or the ad or whatever it is with something that says, you know, like use this code to get this, and, you know, encourage them to feel like there's a value added to it?
No, I mean, codes, no. I mean, I don't think there's a way really to apply that to Kickstarter, which is what I'm.
Oh, it's specific to Kickstarter. So you're talking about Kickstarter conversions.
Yes, that's what that's my focus with it, really.
So Kickstarter does have something new that you might be able to use, which is you can give specific rewards that are only tied to Instagram. Like you can put down the specific address for rewards now, where
the secret reward, or you could even do a referral link, either or.
Yeah, and you can set things up where there might be some $0 secret reward, like what they were suggesting before, like the PDF of my book's background, and, you know, some of those details like that, where maybe the reward for the Instagram user going there and visiting it is to do that, and then maybe you could get them to do the add-ons to get something else beyond it. You know what I mean? Like you show up to get the free French fries and end up asking for a hamburger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I did recently a thing where it was you could get like a Geek Girl 1 and 3 other female-led comics for $1, and that was a secret reward. And what I did was message the people individually on Instagram that had liked, you know, whatever the post, the initial post, saying here's the secret link, but it didn't convert. And it's like I got, you know, replies like, oh yeah, that's great, but it didn't.
What was
convert.
the percentage between the views and the conversions?
I mean, it's negligible, really. The conversions were next to nothing. As I say, it's not like it's getting ignored. I'm getting responses. Oh, that's great, but not doing it. And that's $1 for 4 comics. So that was a pretty good, you know, and it was utilizing the secret reward thing. That wasn't, you know, just available on Kickstarter in general. So that's kind of along the lines of what you're suggesting. But as I say, it just seems to me like the sort of the mentality when someone is on Instagram is they're there to look at the pictures and look at the videos, and that's it. Obviously, there's exceptions to that.
How much? So, like when you're doing a short URL for your Kickstarters, usually, like, so they're not just typing in the long one.
No, I mean geekgirlcomics.com. Whenever there's a Kickstarter on that,
so that redirects to your Kickstarter.
So that's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Do you have control over? Are you able to make like a subdomain of your Geek Girl, and then do another redirect? You have that ability to do that real fast.
Like geekgirl.com/ks. ks.geekgirl.com.
I don't. The thing because the plan I got, I accidentally ended up signing up for something else that was just basically throwing money away. I think what I've got is just the basic URL and that's it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So does anyone else have any more questions, or are we ready to jump on in?
No.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Who wants to go first?
I'm interested in the answers too. I'm writing this shit down.
James, you have anything?
A couple of ideas off the top of my head. If you use the secret link in combination with the Instagram, you could create. You would have to put some work into getting the addresses set up correctly. You could run something where there's the first 10 Instagram people using this are also going to get this other free prize. You could always try to encourage those type of conversions. But those type of conversions, if you're having a hard time in general just converting in the first place, it's still going to be a bit of a challenge. As far as I would take it, I would just try to make sure that when I'm using Instagram, if I know Instagram's conversion rate, where the interaction rate is good, but the conversion rate isn't too high, conversion rate usually has to do something with how well the idea is getting across to that person's set. So one of the things they talk about a lot in Comics Launch is to talk to your audience, run polls, things like that, where people participate and say, what would you back? What are you looking for? When I'm talking about this, what are some of the things you'd like to see? And a lot of times you may not get a perfect list, but you could find a little bit of gold mixed in with some of the answers, especially if they're actually responding to you already and they're talking to you. Like one of the problems I have a lot of times is I'll get lots of likes, but I don't get a lot of comments.
Yeah.
And I hate that. That sucks. I'd love to hear back a lot more, of course, but the people who do give me feedback a lot of times, like when I'm doing messages back and forth, I'll ask them, what made you come and check this book out? Oh, I liked this part of the artwork, or I liked this part of this. Well, what made you decide to get it? And I'll just ask a couple of questions. There's nothing wrong with running your own, because like marketing agencies and stuff like that, that's where their actual value is where they understand the product and they understand the group that you're looking for. It's not their fancy systems that get exposures. That's why when you talk to marketers and you say the magic words, I will pay you for conversions, they will hang up the phone. Because they can't guarantee conversions. Yeah. All they can do is guarantee you to see it, and you and the interaction stuff. The really hardcore marketers, the ones that are really expensive, that know their job, that will talk to you about conversions, they're the ones that won't hang up the phone. They're a lot harder to find, and they're a lot more expensive because they actually know their job. They're actually educated, and they don't just have a Google certificate and have been trying to market themselves to all the plumbers in the Bay Area.
But they're also really people with the big budgets.
Exactly. They're the ones that are working with the bigger ones. But one of the things they constantly do is poll and poll and poll and poll and poll and poll. They're the ones that sit 10 people down and give them $100 a card or $100 gift card a piece and sit there in a room and ask them questions for 45 minutes. And those questions, those polls are usually going to tell you a little bit more about what is liked, what is trusted, and what isn't in your own work. And I would assume that is going to get you a lot closer to understanding how to convert than trying to find the keywords on Instagram.
Okay.
So, Aaron, you said you're still writing stuff down.
Oh, I'm writing as he's talking.
You don't have anything to add?
No, see, notes. I'm putting notes down.
JD, do you want to jump in before I throw out my thoughts?
I could have sworn I said Facebook, Twitter. Instagram, I never came out my mouth.
All right, cool. All right, well then, so
sorry.
God, so many people talk about Instagram too, like on everybody's.
So, a good way, and I kind of brought this up a little bit, was so having your URL and using the call to action on your actual image.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it's just like kind of like at the bottom, so that it doesn't take up all the real estate, because you know how the algorithm's like, oh no, too much text, no. You know, so you want to have it where it's just big enough that they can see it. You know, go to boom to back to KS or or whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be big, just has to be legible. My point about the whole having a subdomain or an additional one was that you could test out. So instead of just sending to geekgirl.com, to regular Kickstarter, you could put a referral link for just Instagram, and you could make it ks.geekgirl.com. So that way, when they're typing it, because that's an easy URL, right? So anybody can just go, ks.geekgirl.com. Boom. That's a no-brainer how to type that. Even a dyslexic.
I can do that on Kickstarter, can't I? You can set that kind of thing up on Kickstarter.
You can make a referral link, but you have to take that really long ass link.
Oh, it's that business, is it?
Yeah, right. And then you got to put that into the redirect.
Yeah, most websites will let you set it up if you ask for help from whoever your domain provider is.
Yeah, whoever your hosting provider is, they might be able to do it for you. I'm a web guy, so I can just do it for myself instantly. But again, it's if you already know how to redirect to the Kickstarter, you're already a step ahead of most people. So like most domain names you're able to do a subdomain for free. So, and that depends again, mostly on your hosting, but most packages, when you have a domain name, you can make a subdomain name and redirect that somewhere else.
Right. There usually isn't a limit on how many either. It's you get charged based on traffic, not based on subdomains. Usually.
Well, again, depending on the hosting or what hosting you paid for.
Yeah. I need to look at that properly, because what happened with this provider was to say I accidentally signed up for something and didn't realize I was getting charged every month for this thing that was basically not doing anything. So I was just like, I'm just going to strip this to the bone now and just have the URL domain. So I need to look at that properly.
But hosting providers have completely changed their models. Before, it used to be you would get like a whole site hosting, unlimited data and unlimited like domains and stuff for like $50 a year. Right now they're charging you like anywhere between like $20 to like $50 a month, because like now the internet's so big, because whatever, it's a pet peeve of mine, but because they can just digitally rip you off for no additional reasons. Just for the fact that it's so popular and everybody needs the internet. So definitely see if you can figure that out, because you can put that on your actual images. So then people, when they're liking it, like they don't even have to blow it up to look bigger. They could just, as long as it's at the bottom there, it says, back to Kickstarter at ks.geekgirl.com. They're like, oh, this is a Kickstarter. Oh, this is cool. Like, I want to check this out. Maybe they might even click the read more to actually read the text instead of just looking at the picture, knowing that it's actually something, that there's a call to action on the actual image. And then definitely, take advantage of any reels, any image, because people do reels now with just images and kind of fool people. you know, because then they click it for the algorithm situation, but it's still just a flat image with like some like music. Those reels, you can put the you know, the URL in there. You know, and I hate to say ads, but like ads do allow you to put URLs in there that are actually clickable. But like that's like in this case a last resort, especially when you don't want to, like, if you're just kind of testing, like, you know, the Instagram market. Another, you know, definitely want to make sure you have that URL at the top, you know, of your profile. Because like, if you go to like mine at Lone Wolf Comics, you know, I have you know, the basically the tagline of Night Wolf, and then back on Kickstarter through March 8th or March 28th, and then the URL, my like short URL, the nightwolf.lonewolfcomics.com. So like that's, you know, they can click that, you know, they're on my profile anytime, you know. And you know, taking advantage of that, and you know, also doing a live, or not even, it doesn't even have to be a live, like, you know, when you do a Facebook Live, you can share it to Instagram. So like that's another thing you could do, you know, getting yourself in front of it and talking to people, because people want to know, like, and trust you before they back something. Like they could, you know, because you could be the Invisible Man and, you know, have the best looking stuff, but if you're not actually putting yourself, your personality, and selling yourself, they don't necessarily trust it, because that's what a lot of people these days now are doing. They want to see you. They want to know who they're buying from, and not that they're just going to get scammed, you know. And you could always talk about your track record, because you've been doing this for a long time and you have numerous back issues. So like, you know, you have that trust. You just have to go out there and tell them.
I just find it very weird talking to myself.
It is. Well, that's why, like, these things, like, where we're having this, like, even if there's two of us, a small panel, it's a lot easier to like bank off each other. But if you have kind of like a little bit of a scripted thing, and so this is how I make my Kickstarter videos, because let me tell you how awkward it is to just look at the camera, right? So I will put up my Word document right in front of, like, so like you can't see it, like right here, the camera's right there. I'm looking just below the camera and just have my like kind of talking points. And another thing, Clay Adams told me this way back when I first started doing my well, I guess my second Kickstarter. The first one failed, and this is after starting Comics Launch. Have a picture of somebody in there, so like you're talking to somebody, like somebody you know, like, and trust. Have a picture of them, your talking points. Look at that. Don't look necessarily straight at the camera.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, it's just weird little mind tricks, man, that we just kind of
You
know? But so those are mostly the points that I was thinking to cover. The only thing that I will add, though, and this is kind of playing off of kind of the opposite of James' thoughts on the secret rewards. Those things are slightly limiting. They're not as, because if you think about it, if you want somebody to back for your new book, like a returning backer, right? And then you want more people coming in as new readers, like when you give out one secret URL, they're going to be able to see both, right? So it's not necessarily like a secret. It's kind of
only have one.
So you can make more than one, but you send, if you send one URL to somebody and send the other one, they're going to see both, and it's going to show the lowest denominator first.
Yeah.
It's really, it isn't completely hashed out yet.
This may be a work in progress.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've actually noticed, because I did do one.
The secret.
Yeah.
Another secret with that secret.
Yeah, well, and I've also noticed too that like sometimes like it actually shows no matter what Kickstarter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I actually, because I did try one.
Oh, that's right. Someone on Comic Launch was talking about that, about how it showed up on their feed.
Yeah. So it's like, is it really that secret? So until they get the bugs kind of worked out of that, it's like, play with it, but don't make it one of those things where it's like limiting.
It's like Area 51. It's secret, but everyone knows about it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So like the way I did it was like, for me, I sent it out to like my email list of people who who've never once backed a campaign, but they've
Right.
either bought from me on my website or just are like the guys who hang out there. They don't actually do anything. They just open up my emails. So what I did was so the way my catch-up tiers are is I have my standard retail ones, and then I have like limited editions at different prices, right? So I took like the first set of limited catch-up tier and brought it down closer to the price of my standard editions, so that they were like, hey, you can get these limited editions for almost the price of the standard editions, you know, just to kind of pull people in. And but like I said, I was like, oh well, shit, that's everywhere.
Yeah. Work in progress.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a work in progress.
But, all right, yeah. So that's all I have. I know that's a lot to
that's-
throw at you.
No, some stuff to think about there. That's thanks, guys. That's good. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Anybody else got last things to add before we move on?
Unfortunately, like I said, Instagram's one of those places I just left alone. I was just like, nope. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. Instagram for me is like a side thought. I made a lot of real style short films for this campaign. I did, I don't know, like 10 or 12 of them. They all went to a combination of Instagram, Facebook, or they went to TikTok. And matter of fact, I'm probably gonna like repost them all for the next 3 days. But I would say that I probably got more feedback from people and it was more about what time of day. I don't know. I didn't get a lot of I got a lot of people looking at it, like you said, but I didn't see an increase in conversions out of Instagram. I saw this kind of the same thing you did. But I didn't try to set anything up. It was really an afterthought. It was like one of the things I could click and just let it go. I was really just trying to get them up and warm up my audience through my email list and warm up my audience on Facebook where I'm more present. And I had a couple of friends on TikTok that are like all in on that damn thing and are like selling books through their shop there. So I tinkered around with that a little bit. And I did have fun. I did learn how to use like some software to make short videos, but I don't know, dude. I saw the same problems where Instagram didn't really generate a lot of buzz for me. I know a lot of people are always talking about how many followers they have on it and the rest of it. So it feels like it's necessary, but dude, if it doesn't convert for you and you try a handful of different things and you talk to your readers and the rest of it, well, maybe your tribe's just not on Instagram.
Yep.
Cool.
Aaron, you're up, bro.
Mine is advice for first cons. Since I'm doing my first con in Nashville in June, and any advice you can give would be fantastic because I'm excited and shitting myself.
Believe it or not, that's a good place to be.
You know what?
I like my bowels flowing smoothly.
Look, there's a reason I was talking about cons, and I actually love them. The whole the immune system thing it sucks. But I have to deal with it. But I love cons, and I love going. I meet new artists. I meet new people. There is nothing for you to be scared of unless you're putting that fear there for yourself. As the first thing. The second is this: why are you going to the con?
To help spread and get more fans.
Okay, no
sell
problem.
books would be nice.
To talk about your comics.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're going to find value in a handful of different places, and each one kind of requires a little bit of different strategy. First of all, what do you consider being successful at going to the first con?
I would consider being successful if I get the table cost back.
Okay, gotcha.
That would I think for my first one that would be amazing hit.
Gotcha.
Amazing.
So
yes.
That means you want to make sure your table presentation is professional. And there's a bunch of there's many.
Well, before we get
people.
into the suggestions,
Sorry, I got excited.
Let's find out what he's done already to prepare.
Really?
Those are some good questions. Yeah, so.
Sorry, I love this one. It's a thing I talk about.
Yeah, believe me, I'm ready to jump in here too, because like I can tell you my first con experience and what I did to make it a successful one. So we all got great stories, but let's make sure we're asking the questions so we know how to direct those.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So what I've done previously, I've actually been to it. I went to it last year because it's my son's birthday, and we went to Nashville Con. So I walked because Carissa and Ed was there, so met them, kind of said hi, and we're hopeful it'd be awesome if hopefully be next to each other because we're all going again. So I kind of got the lay of the land. I have in my Amazon cart got several things. So I've got the usual, stand for comics. I've got a rotating table because I've got like a samurai 3D model, so I'm gonna plonk on that just to go round and round. I thought it'd be pretty cool, and a little kind of offshoot stand for my merch and stuff. But it's more kind of, and I've got like a tablecloth, just a box standard black one. Nothing's printed on it. It was just a make it look nice rather than just a plastic table. It's kind of more like, what do I print and all that stuff. That's what I'm kind of worried about. If I'm get the right
inventory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have anyone? Do you have anyone going with you?
My son has volunteered, so he's coming with me as well.
How old is your son?
16. It'll be 17 at the because his birthday is like the week before this time.
Okay. No. You have a functional semi-adult. Like you don't have a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Because
semi-adult.
I'm pretty sure there's a thing that says nobody under the age of 16.
Right. So
I have trouble for that actually.
You have someone that can carry boxes.
Yes. Yeah. He can. He'll complain like a mofo, but he'll carry it.
Do you have a banner?
I don't know, because it costs a lot of money, and I don't have any art for it either.
You can get around
you can
that.
get them fairly cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's what is your idea of expensive?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I'm guessing when you said expensive, you're talking about the $300 pop-up vinyl ones.
Yeah.
You can get.
I mean, if it's $300 and then try and figure out how to do the artwork as well. I had thought about doing it. It's just the price, the going to the con. I know it's my first con and it's always going to be expensive because I have to get all the stuff. It's just I'm trying to keep it to a minimum so I don't get divorced.
Yes.
But not look like I'm a destitute creator. It's the middle ground I'm looking for.
You're going to be shocked how much that tablecloth got you off the first step.
Okay.
When you go, you're going to turn around and go, dude, there's 3 people here who are just sitting there with a pile of books and no signage.
And the sign provided by the con that they have propped up on the table.
It's just an 8x10 white paper with the number on it. There's always somebody who's like that. So you've got a good foundation to work with there, and so I wouldn't be as concerned as you are. You're going the right direction.
So you mentioned what to print. So define so are we talking about the comic inventory? Or are we talking about prints? Are we talking about posters, stickers? What exactly?
All of the above. I mean, I've got obviously I've got three series I've got printed. So I've got issue 1s. Hopefully, if more Patrice funds, I'll have issue 2 for that as well. But I've been told by Carissa and Ed that number 1s sell a lot and trade backs sell a lot at cons.
Yes. But when you have lots of books on your table, it helps all of it. Like the more stuff you have out, the more like you look like you belong there, and it helps too.
Yeah, one of the things though that I've seen in the past is that if you have too many number ones, that can sometimes be detrimental. You might want to spread them out on the table.
Yeah.
To not have them all on the one stand, like spread them out.
Not have them all clustered together because people will get confused. What happens is they see like, oh, this is one of title X and this is one of title Y and this is one of title Z. Which one do I want? Hold on, there's a bumblebee over there. Let me go walk over there.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes it's like that. It's like the dog in what was that cartoon? Squirrel, and they'll be like, oh, squirrel.
Squirrel.
Right. Yeah. So you want to like maybe have one on one end, one in the middle, one depending how many you have, and then if you have issue twos to go along with them, just space them out so then that way, and then also depends on how close they are to genre to one another.
Well, they're all horror, so they all kind of have a theme,
Right.
but they are different in like one's post-apocalyptic, one's samurai, one's supernatural. So
again,
there are
so those are technically the genres. Horror is kind of like the underlying.
Yeah.
So the other ones, like that's going to depend on what people are interested in.
Yeah.
What kind of stand do you have? Like, is it a tall one with like?
It was it's a 4-tier stand, wide. It takes up a good portion of the table. I even did a mock-up of the table on PowerPoint. So it's like 6 foot by 2 foot, and I could get the dimensions and see how they all fit together.
Okay.
That's smart too.
So I could, in theory, fit another smaller one to the side. But that one is really big, and it kind of takes up a good portion of one side of the table. But I mean, I think that's the biggest one I found on Amazon because it fits a lot of comics.
Yeah, there's another one that's like 5-tier that you can fit 4 across, so it's like really high, but you fit 4 over. I have 2 of those on mine.
Okay.
But again, like I honestly, I've even ran out of room because now that I have like issue 10 or here and
it's
9
a 6
in
tier.
stock.
Sorry, it's a 6 tier.
Oh, there you go.
I just put it up on Amazon because I couldn't remember. Yeah, 6 tier, and it's like four books along.
There you go.
Yeah.
Damn,
it's like
huge.
Yeah, so you should be able to spread those then.
Yeah. So do you do variant covers too, or is it just the plain stuff?
No, I take it
because
all.
that you take it all as well.
I
Okay,
take it all, yeah.
because then it does get confusing because you've got issue 1, variant 1, 2,
Well,
3,
you
4.
just have to set it up in a way that you're able to tell them. So, like, I guess what's the easiest way to do this? Well, before I get into that, let's talk.
Any questions?
Any more questions?
Yes, I have more questions.
Yes, there you go.
Aaron, I don't have your cover for Armor Petite in front of me. Do you have a logo? I assume, yeah.
For my kind of comic brand,
Yes.
Yes, it's shit.
Okay.
It's a pile.
All right.
You might want to.
It's shite.
How much time till this con?
It's June 8th, June 7th.
Got a few months.
Yeah,
he has plenty of time.
I'll probably have it somewhere.
Dude, if you think it's shit, everybody who sees it's gonna think it's shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I didn't really do it for like I don't know. I just kind of did it because everyone had it. So there it is, right there. You can barely make it out.
Oh man.
Wait. That's your company logo?
Well, it's Dabsky Comics. So like the first initial of my son, and my wife.
Uh-huh.
Ski, Wroblewski, and then comics. So it's like 2 ski like trails going down a mountain.
Okay. Yeah,
I did it on paint. Give me a break.
I'm just saying you might want to find a graphic designer. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
called Fiverr.com.
There you go.
I will. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how many of us out there are graphic designers that do this? I mean,
I married one.
I installed.
Well, dude, Aaron, not everybody has that same skill set. Other people, like, I'm not the best writer. That's why Kara works with me to like focus my voice and stuff. Everybody's going to have certain things that they can do a little bit better or different than others, and that's where they create their advantages and go off of them. Ignore the fact that we're razzing you about the damn thing. It's really just about you when it comes to the logo, using the logo, because branding helps. Whether, dude, even though it annoys every human being on the planet, marketing works.
Okay, I'll either reach out to well volunteered James or someone to redesign it. I mean, I have thought about it. I just think I've been pushing it off because I've been trying to save money, especially with the Kickstarter, and trying not to spend too much while that's been going.
Makes sense. I'll explain the reason I was asking real quick. Do you know what DTF is?
What?
DTF. Okay. DTF is companies like Ninja Print and stuff like that make iron-on stuff, but that's made out of the same chemicals that are used in the screen printing process now. So it's not like the iron-on stuff when we were kids where the crap just peeled off the second you were done. Now you can go and spend $4 and get a logo this big and iron it on to a big-ass black tabletop so that your logo is just hanging in front of your table. And you can do the same thing if you're trying to stick it on the cheap. If you can't afford a banner, you can just get a slightly more expensive, slightly bigger thing to iron on and do the same thing onto a sheet, and then just get a frame up that you could make out of PVC or buy on Amazon if you need a background.
Okay, that'd be cool.
So, all right, are we done with the questions? Then we can continue on with the thoughts.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I am sorry.
No worries. I mean, we just wanted to make sure. James, you want to continue running with your thoughts, or Sam? Do you have?
That was just about the logo and the banner. If you want to keep it simple, those are both options that are simple and classy looking, that are totally doable. I think the stand I got on Amazon was like $40 or whatever, and you can do a backdrop like that and just pin it up there with. Oh gosh, there's a lot of different ways. I use magnets, like industrial magnets, so I can fold it over and pin it to the thing. Nothing breaks them apart. So there's little things like that.
Okay.
And it sounds like your presentation for what you have on your plan for your table sounds like you have the right things for the most part, and that it's more like what Rob, I think, was about to get into, which is about how you're going to communicate with the customer once they're there. Table readers, like you were talking about what to print. Table readers help me a lot, which is where I take copies of my book and put down a little sign that says table readers, please check me out. So that people, when they walk up to the table, they can start looking at the artwork and they can look at the book. Because I know once they've got it in their hands, that my pitch is going to be so much easier once they have the book open and in their hands than if they just come up and hear my spiel.
Okay.
And then as far as what else to print, you said you wanted to cover your table cost. So the minimum answer is do the math. How much are you going to sell your book for? How much you need to cover for your table? Make sure you have at least that many items to sell to try to cover your table cost. And then how far more? That's really much about how far you can push it before you get divorced.
Yeah.
I'm also going to send you in the private chat, but for anybody out there, bannerbuzz.com, great affordable banners. You see my background here. This technically is not one of them, but I use this same thing for a banner. One of my banners, I have several actually. And it's actually on canvas. It's printed full color, and I can fold it up, and just like it looks like a little towel, I can put it into my box and call it a day. The stand is very retractable, and it comes in like a 3-foot bag. It's a very nice thing, especially for big displays. They also have smaller ones, smaller canvas ones that are just the 6 foot by like 2 foot. So if you just want to display one of your characters or have 2 different characters on 2 different ones and have them behind you, anything is better than nothing as far as when it comes to banners, because you want to have somebody coming down the aisle who you catch their eye with something. So I'm not necessarily saying go out there and buy the biggest, best one. Buy something that's eye catchy, because you want to try and bring somebody in from down the ways. You kind of want them to be able to kind of, as they're walking by, you kind of slow down so you can start that conversation. So with my first con, I had a single issue, and that was it. And I said, "What the shit am I going to cover my table with?" So I got the the black tablecloth, put my book in the middle. I had 8x10s of the character designs and cover art printed out. I had a couple 11x17s poster size printed out. I did put everything out on the table. Basically, I covered every square inch of that table with what I had. Made it look very professional. I had a banner. At this time, it was I tried to do it as cheaply as possible. My cousin's husband, so it'd be my cousin-in-law, he had a vinyl printer. So he took the same image and printed it out on a 6 foot by 4 foot banner vinyl, which, at the time, rolling that thing up and then having to carry that in, hey, what could I say? It was free. And then I also have PVC piping behind me that were my first. Though that's another pain in the ass, putting in the car.
It's cheap, but it's a pain in the ass.
So I thought that the $350 some for that canvas banner with the stand included, I might add, because so you're not just paying for the banner and then the stand. No, it's together in one package. Bannerbuzz.com, and they send you discounts all the time if you sign up for their email list. But let me tell you how much easier my pulling stuff into the con and setting up is compared to having to try and put the stand and the banner on one shoulder and try and drag my boxes out with the other.
Or did it one con I was underneath the air conditioner.
You don't have to zip tie. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So with the PVC, you gotta do zip ties. Where with this, I just shove the poles through the already sewn pocket holes.
Okay, you're selling it pretty well. I think I'll be taking a.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
One of the other things I would suggest to you that has, aside from what Rob is talking about, is either set up, if you have an extra tablet, a cheap one that you don't mind leaving on the table, where people can sign up for your mailing list, and maybe you give away a free PDF or something. So they'll sign up for it, give you their email, obviously, and then boom, they'll get a free. You email them a free PDF. Then that way you can build your mailing list, and that's something that especially if you have a cheap tablet. If you don't have a tablet, I would suggest just getting a pad and a piece of paper, and you can have people write their information on it, and maybe give away a trading card or a sticker or something.
Yeah.
If you got something,
I do it with paper.
Yeah. Who do you have for your email list? Like, who's your email provider?
Subtrack?
Substack?
Substack.
Yeah, Substack.
Okay,
that's the one.
So I use MailChimp still because I like that their MailChimp app on the tablet automatically feeds into it, and it connects to my website, and it connects to my Square. Basically, it does everything I want it to do, whereas anything else doesn't. So I do pay the extra money because I have a lot of subs. It is what it is. It's the cost of business. But my point is that like JD was saying, is you could have that tablet or, directly plug into, but the other thing is you could always, have just like typing the names. Everybody can do that, but
QR codes.
Yeah. QR codes is just as good. They can do it from their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was going the route of QR codes to that, and I was thinking possibly doing the Facebook groups, but I think probably just having one rather than having 3 or 4, it might get confusing of which one they want, and just do one at a time and one QR code, big, freaking massive print somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of people print like you can get a little acrylic stand. They're 8.5 by 11. You can pick them up at Staples, and you can just print up a big ass, QR code that it peeps, maybe a couple little images, and you just, do it on your home printer and just stick it in there.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
That's what I was thinking of doing. Something cheap and cheerful.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean,
I did want to ask I have got it in my cart. What is it called? A Square card reader.
Oh yes.
Is that the way to go for like collecting? Because I don't want to, do cash.
Yes.
It just seems to be a lot of hassle.
They're
cash
very useful, but I keep getting people asking me about Venmo when they're there.
That's another one.
So because they already have a Venmo account on their phone, and
Okay.
they can just hit a button and send you the money, and you'll see it like right then and there. So I'd make sure you have Venmo, and then as far as the readers go, the phones that have come out over the last year, they can actually tap your phone with the Square software, where you don't even need the reader anymore.
Yeah. So you don't have it connected. They'll just tap this.
Right. And those are awesome, but the phone can actually do the tap as well now. I actually got told that by somebody buying a comic from me at the last con I was at.
Yeah, same here actually.
It's like, oh, sorry it took me so long.
Okay.
Like I'm 2 years behind.
Yeah, this is all weird and wonderful stuff that I need to look into, because I don't know if my antiquated phone could work that. I know it could do Venmo. I think I do have.
How old your phone?
It's a Motorola. I have no idea how old it is.
It's a Motorola. He's got a flip phone.
No, that's not a flip phone. That looks like
it's not a flip phone.
Yeah, if you can put apps on, you can put the Square app on there, and
okay,
all that is the register. This does all the work, really. So if you can't do the tap on your phone, this will do everything you need.
Okay,
I think it'd have to be Bluetooth and compatible, right? Because that's the technology they're using, probably.
Yeah, Bluetooth.
Yeah. So if you have Bluetooth on your phone, you should be able to use it.
Yeah,
and you can recreate all of your items that you're trying to sell inside of the Square store, and use it also as the store on your website. It can do both. And when people come up, you can digitally say, okay, they want books 1, 2, and 3 on the phone, just like a normal cash register. You can even charge them the sales tax based on the area you're in if you sit there and mess with it. It's a really great piece of software.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, and that was something that going into my first con, it was I'm not losing sales because somebody doesn't have cash.
Yeah.
But I would also suggest don't turn your nose up to cash.
Yeah, if they have cash, take cash.
I have a cash box.
Take cash with me. Take some change. Okay.
Yeah. So that's actually another good suggestion, and I got this for my first con, and
I have the same box.
It's got the things in there, and what I did was I took $200 and I changed it into different increments of small bills, so that in case somebody needs change, that you can make change easily.
And don't leave that box out.
Yeah, don't leave that. Take that box with you. Keep a book bag, and then when you go to leave, or you put that in your book bag, and you take it with you.
and don't even leave it on top of the table when you're talking to people.
Nope, keep it on a box underneath the table.
There are groups that come up, and one person will be talking to you on purpose and go, "Hey, how much is that?" And trying to get your attention away from where your cash box is, and the other person just walks off with it.
The other thing you can do, cash boxes are good. One of the other things you can do is it's a little antiquated, but I see a lot of dealers do this who don't like, or they have maybe like a larger booth where they'll use fanny packs.
Yep.
And they will just like that fanny pack is just for cash. That's all it's for.
Yeah. I'm just saying that in Britain, fanny is something else entirely.
What is it?
I had my wife going for 3 years. She didn't know.
What is fanny?
It means a woman's lady garden.
Well, the same thing with the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go for 3 years until one of her friends kind of snitched on me.
Nice.
A waist pouch. You could call it something else, but it's
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't. Sam, you haven't said anything. I don't know if you have anything you want to contribute, or if you have.
He's asleep with his eyes open.
But hold it together. The main thing I would say when I did my first con is letting people know you're going to be there. Like I publicized quite a lot on Facebook, and I found that the majority of people that came up, like they were from that. It's like I recognized from their pictures. They said, "Oh, I found out about you on Facebook." So that to me was I think the main thing, rather than just showing up without any kind of introduction to the fact that you're going to be there, and you may even get people going for you. So that's the main thing. That worked. Like Facebook. A lot of people, I saw Geek Girl on Facebook, and so you're going to be here. That worked.
Yeah, like a Facebook event. Make it. Tell your friends, attach people onto it, broadcast it. Not only that, but the people who are running the con, if they see that you're helping promote the con, they're always like way more friendly when they see you, and it increases your chance of an invite, which is even way better than paying for your table.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sweet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The only other thing I can advise, I don't know if you have a vendor that you use. I like trading cards. I'm a big trading card guy. I love trading cards, especially from indie creators. You can typically get 500 of them for $30 or whatever, $35 with shipping and all that stuff. Again, nice image, little write up on the back, QR code, the whole thing, and that's the sort of thing you just put them on your table for free. You just give them away, and most people will keep a trading card. I feel they'll keep a trading card more than they will keep a bookmark, right? Because a trading card, you're going to collect it. I have a binder filled with these damn things that I go through every now and again. I just think, and I just slide them in there, and I like them from indie guys because it's just my preference. I just I have like a bunch of X-Men and whatever cards, and that shit is trash. But yeah, like I said, so yeah, if you're inclined to it, if you have a good vendor where you can do a bunch of cards cheap, I would suggest that, because it's very cheap advertising. Because it's also the sort of thing that if you have a local comic book store, you could even drop off a small stack there, and you say, hey, would you mind if I leave this on your little freebie counter or whatever? And people just locally just come up and maybe you'll get a few hits on your Kickstarter or whatever. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah.
Other than that, man, take the mentality that you are there to enjoy it. Don't freak out if you don't if it looks like you're not going to get your table cost. That energy is going to broadcast away from you. Yeah. You're gonna be at the table like, God, I need to get. People are gonna see it and feel it, dude. Look at it like a gambling bench. Like if you go to a casino and you walk in there and you're going to spend $200 on gambling, you might get it back, you might not. You kind of want to look at what you're spending on the con that way, so that you're not broadcasting the wrong energy while you're at your table. It just happens. Like I've done it. I felt like crap. Like there was a con where I was at where the morning was just bad. Nothing was going on, and I was in the wrong mindset. I was freaking out about what I spent. I took a walk. My co-creator took a walk when I got back. And when he got back, we were both in a better mood going, you know what, I'm here to, this is a great thing. I talked to some great people. We sold a couple books. That's some progress. Let's have fun with this. And dude, it completely changed. Like in the body language, the rest of it, it really, really helped once we relaxed. And it just is, when you're tense and you're worried, whether you realize it or not, you're telling everybody. and everybody is reading you and scrutinizing you, like Rob said. From a distance, they're looking at you. Nobody looks at your table the second they get up there. They're usually looking at it as they walk down the aisle. And they have some time to read you. And if you look like a fiending, starving raccoon, well, they don't tend to always trust a single guy that looks like a fiendish, starving raccoon at his table. Mm-hmm. So just remember, relax. It's an investment.
Yeah.
And you're there to talk about your comic. And that's what you, I mean, you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't love your comics, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned. I wouldn't really have it on my mind about whether you're going to make the table cost back, because you get someone on board for your series, then that can, they'll follow it and they get later issues and, like that. It doesn't have to be done in one.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
And that being said, of course, we hope that you do really well and you get your table costs back or more. And that's going to be great. And it's going to be awesome. Just remember, there's more than one thing to get out of the con than just the dollars for the books.
Yeah. I mean, if I get, a good, amount of interest and, names and extra people on the email list, that would be
exactly.
Yeah. Right. I think because I know I do need to do a lot of horror cons, because obviously all my shit is horror. Mm-hmm. So I think this one is to kind of break the ice and hopefully get me out there.
I would think that doing both is always good.
Yeah.
So especially with horror stuff, I've been saying that I should do that too, but I've been mostly focusing on comic stuff just because most horror cons end up around Halloween. And that's kind of for my family, a very busy time. And I don't want to miss that.
Yeah, we seem to get, because we're on the, I don't know, I really hate having to, when I bought the house, because it's on the main alley where the neighbor gives out full-size candy bars.
Oh, nice.
How do you do that? Are you trying to bankrupt me? But yeah, so we have to go to Sam's Club, which is our local Costco, and spend $400 on candy for these damn kids.
Go to the horror con and just shut your house down.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, just shut it down.
Just shut it down.
They even had a working guillotine across the street.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Hey, use your books.
Well, I'm trying to make our house that scary that kids don't come here.
Exactly. There you go. If they make it through the haunted house, they get a copy of the book.
Yeah. whether parents like it or not. You're 4, here's a supernatural horror.
What are you doing letting your kid into my house on Halloween for?
So here's a nice book with decapitations. Here you go, kid.
Yeah.
I clearly have an NC-17 sign right here in my yard. Why are you letting your kid up into my house? What's wrong with you?
Nice. All right. So, Aaron, you think that helped you out a little bit?
Very much so. I'll be definitely looking into a lot of this, especially the banner website. It's a lot to get, because it's getting closer. I keep buying this shit off, and it's getting to start to the point where I probably
it is, but you still have enough time.
Well,
you're okay because you've gotten a bunch of stuff already.
Yeah,
you're just getting fine tuning stuff. You're not starting from scratch.
I mean, I have been putting off doing an actual getting the logo revamped. I've been putting that off for probably a year now. So
something else that can help is those rubber mats that they sell at hardware stores for people to stand in one spot all day. Don't be afraid of putting one of those behind the table.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, because my back kills. Because I do trade shows for work. Because I work for a big manufacturing company. And trade shows are killer on my back. I've even got one of those support belts I wear. It's otherwise my back just goes.
You gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So, gentlemen, we're gonna run over just a little bit, right? So I'm gonna start pulling up campaigns. Start pitching fast. All right. So here
All
we
right.
go.
The Ballad of Nod is about a little girl who has lost her father to cancer, and she is struggling to deal with the feelings. Those feelings of fear and dread and regret and everything are bringing nightmares from the dream world into her real life. And the only thing stopping them from getting to her is her teddy bear, Patches, who has been fighting all those monsters back inside of the dark. So the book is basically it's a guide to dealing with all the rest of that and trying to come up with a way to make a choice between losing somebody else you care about or succumbing to the fear.
All right. Very nice. Listen, I like it. I like it a lot. You got, 4 days ago, you got 63 backers. You made your goal. No, you're close to making your goal.
Oh, I'm so freaking close. We're barely $200 away from the goal.
Yep.
So close.
But you'll make it. You'll make it. It's very nice. All right. Very good. Everybody, go check out The Ballad of Nod. Awesome looking book.
I backed it. Looks freaking awesome, man.
Yep.
Thanks, Aaron.
Sorry. Here we go. Sam, quick.
Okay. So this is Geek Girl. Geek Girl is Ruby K, hot popular college chick, lands a pair of super tech glasses, give her flight and super strength powers. Initially not used to the super strength powers, make her super klutzy, alienates her cool kid clique, trying to demonstrate her newfound powers, but her BFF Summer sticks with her, kind of pushes her into becoming a superhero. Comes up with an own Geek Girl for her, sort of jokingly following her klutzy actions. Since then, Ruby K has grown into a genuine superhero and has been offered the chance to front a super team. Now, new villain Identity Thief wants to be her and has the power to literally steal people's identity.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. It seems like you were down into the hours. So you got 50 hours. You've already met your goal. You doubled plus your goal. Got 53 back. It's very nice. Great looking book. Listen, go pick up some copies.
Yes, it's the latest trade paperback, but you can get all the previous stuff on there as well.
All right, cool.
Awesome. Looks good, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Aaron, talk to me.
This is Amor Patris, which is Latin for father's love. It is a supernatural horror, follows a small town sheriff as he investigates a local disturbance at a farm. But when he gets there, he only finds blood, death, and madness. And his investigation unearths that exorcisms are real and not all are successful. So this is issue 2. It follows directly on from issue 1, where he asks like a local priest for help, and they unearth a father and son duo who are performing unsanctioned exorcisms across America.
All right, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
It's done by the very talented Hernan Gonzalez. He does awesome stuff with black and white shadows. So yeah, he's freaking kicks ass.
All right, cool. So you're also down to the hours. You're 68 hours. You got a few $100 to go, but I don't think you're gonna have a hard time making it. I think you're gonna make that. So
I hope so.
You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. All right. It's a great looking book. Go check it out. All right. Where are we? I'm like all over the place. Sorry. All right, Mr. Multari.
Yeah, so this is Nightwolf issues 1 through 10. This is getting close to the end of the 12-issue story arc that we have for the first big kind of origin story for him. And it's about a young man who finds out that he's born a werewolf, gets thrown into a supernatural war against demons, witches, vampires, other werewolves. Yeah, I mean, it takes place in modern times, and it kind of crosses many genres, urban fantasy, as James loved the word slobberknocker.
Dude, it's freaking perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, it's got sword, sorcery, modern times, got technology, all kinds of crazy stuff. A werewolf using a shotgun and a sword at the same time. How badass is that?
There you go. Very nice. Very nice. You're down also to the hours?
Yeah. Well, I'm less than 2 days. I think I'm at 61 hours.
61 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So all right, cool. You I think you've done okay for yourself.
Just a little bit.
You've done okay for yourself, but you can always do
47
better.
backers.
Yeah.
So is it a 12 issues? Is that complete, or is it going to
No,
continue after that?
it's just the first story arc.
Okay.
So think of it like a first season or a first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we got a lot of werewolf stuff planned.
Okay.
All right. I'll pull up my campaign. This is the Oswald Chronicles. What My I See, I Cannot Tell, issues 1 and 2. I just launched this yesterday at noon. And this is the story of Oswald going through a portal adventure with a buddy of his after he sees the vision of his long-lost wife, Belinda. And it's basically him telling that story of how he lost his wife, how he met her, the empire he once ruled in dream, and the insane adventure that he goes on. And it's all illustrated by Jade Gonzalez. I have an extra cover. This is by Emmy Hernandez. She's a cartoonist out of Mexico. She did a couple of variant covers for me. There's some of the interior art. It's black and white. A couple of the covers again.
Love that first black and white page.
Thank you. I mean, and here's some of the demon monster things that Oswald fights, and there you go. We got it. I think I'm down to 22 days. Yep, 22 days, 37 backers. So if you can, please go check it out. Thank you so much. There you go. So that's that.
Do you need to read the previous stuff to follow it, or is it kind of a standalone?
No. Yeah, that's the one. That's the funniest thing about Oswald is like when I originally designed these stories, they were all meant to be self-contained, but it's the limited series. So this one will have 5 issues, and you could just read those 5 issues as one story in and of itself. It does have an overarching story, right? But you can just read the individuals by themselves. Yeah. So
cool.
There you go.
I'm trying to make sure the nod's got that same pickup value, but it's definitely more enriching when you have all of them.
Right. Of course. Yeah, for sure. I mean, but it's like, it's difficult because this is actually a very good jumping on point for fans because he's starting to tell this bigger story. And a lot of it is contained in this. And in the next 5 stories is all contained that big story. But if you just want this one section, you just read that one section, and then you just go from there. All right.
Good,
thank you, gentlemen. We made it. We did it. All right. All right. Sam, well, let's start with Sam. Sam, please let everybody know where they can find you in your work, sir.
Brain is just about shut. 2:45 in the morning here now. GeekGirlComics.com is the best place. Sam Johnson Comics on Instagram. DA Sam Johnson on Twitter. Pretty easy to find on Facebook. I've got like 3 different Facebooks because you can only have 5,000 friends, and I'm just so damn popular. I need 3 of these Facebooks. So if you search Sam Johnson on Facebook, if you've got mutual friends that are into comics, which you will have, I'm pretty easy to find. I think that about does me.
All right, cool. Aaron?
You can find me on Wroblewski Aaron at Instagram. I do have Facebook groups for all my series. So Enenra, Blood and Fire, Ice and Bone, and more Patrice. Anyone's welcome to join them. I usually post, updates and Kickstarter stuff, artwork and stuff on all of them. A new series is hopefully launching soon. Pillars of Creation, which is a science fiction horror. Again, I can't stop doing horror. So that's kind of the Aliens, Event Horizon kind of theme. So watch your space.
All right, cool. Nice. James, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Facebook, it's James Burton 8140. My website is angrybrainartworks.com, and I'm James Burton II on Instagram.
Cool. Mr. Rob.
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much any social media platform at Lone Wolf Comics, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Hive, TikTok, YouTube. I'm there, not necessarily there all the time, mostly on Facebook. You can catch me personally at Rob Multari, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and lonewolfcomics.com is my website. You can go there to check out more details about my stuff and go to the shop there to get caught up on everything. Or you could just go to the Kickstarter with that short URL there, nightwolf.com or nightwolf.lonewolfcomics.com. That'll redirect you to that very long and arduous Kickstarter link, and you can back the campaign there. We are live until Friday at noon Eastern.
All right, cool. So I'm JD Calderon. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter. I'm on Instagram, just barely.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. DeviantArt. And mostly, and then every just about every Sunday here on YouTube, every other week here on YouTube with Rob doing this show. So go check it out, and please go check out the show notes. In those show notes is everybody's campaigns here. They have links to those campaigns. Click on those links, please. Check out those books. Pick up some of those books. All these creators are doing great work. They're all doing fantastic projects. So please support them. All right. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.